Hi, my name is Kimberly, and I'm reporting for Pixels and Pills. I'm here with Mark Miller. He's the Senior Vice President of Strategic and Analytic Consulting for Epsilon. Hi, Mark.
Hi. Very good.
Are you enjoying the DTC conference so far?
Absolutely. A lot of good presentations, a lot of studies that support the facts, which is good.
Right. And I wanted to talk to you about your presentation on social media. You had some comments on the FDA hearing on social media,
Correct.
And how there's a need to garner the feelings of the customer, the consumer. Can you speak a little bit about that?
No, absolutely. I mean, if you look at all of the pharma companies and the supporting agencies who presented, there was a tremendous amount of information. A lot of it is very much about opinion, and there were some good studies, and what we wanted to do was to go directly to the consumer, try and emit as much of the opinion as possible, and to get their perspective on the role that they play, on what they want social media to be, and how they want pharma to engage in social media platforms. So what we really wanted to do was to go right to the consumer. There's so much out there, there's so many opinions, but it's very much focused on the execution, and to take a step back and say, understand the customer as the basis for how you engage and what you give. So that's where we wanted to start.
Right. One thing that you said that was very interesting is that consumers do want pharma to participate, but how can pharma interact with them?
Well, I mean, a part of my conversation, I talked about there being a credibility issue with pharma, and it's very well known. The Gallup poll published some information last year. What our study found that over 50% of individuals were very skeptical to having pharma participate in discussions, but when asked what they want pharma to do, they were very open to pharma participating so that they could validate the accuracy of the information. And I think it's about recognizing that social media is a forum where consumers engage on their terms. They don't want to be marketed to, but just because of the nature of healthcare discussions around diseases and drugs, they absolutely want validation, because in my presentation I mentioned that the resistance to engaging is largely a time and trust issue, and if pharma can take on a role which advocates on behalf of the consumer rather than always feeling as though it has to be about the drug, they welcome that participation. Just help me understand that what I'm reading, what I'm talking about is true. They are very open to that.
All right. And I have a final question for you. What do you think is most surprising that pharma marketers will learn about how to reach these sort of engaged patients?
Well, I mean, the most surprising fact is when you think about the people who go online, you think they are the most knowledgeable, the most skilled, and the most proactive, and generally they are. In the presentation I talked about patient types that are online, and 80% of the individuals are very motivated, very self-sufficient, but the balance of the patient, 20% are more passive consumers of healthcare. They're not as knowledgeable, yet they're online and they're on these social media sites, and the fact that they represent 70% of health utilization costs and they have the worst adherence levels. These are individuals that we have discounted and say they're not online, and they are. Not a lot of them with regards to the big pool of engaged patients, but they are online, and again, they represent the highest cost in healthcare as well as the highest revenue potential with regards to minimizing therapy drop-off. You can't ignore that group. You have to cater to them. It's not just about focusing on consumers engaging in social media and trying to drive them onto therapy. You need to be a partner to the consumer, the patient, along the entire treatment cycle. And if you could get to them early and help build the confidence so that they will welcome you in the journey, it's a win for the consumer and it's an absolute win for pharma. And at the same time, it helps to move or minimize the stigma that pharma is not a trusted partner, when in fact it is. They can change the perception.
Thank you so so much for speaking with us. This is Kimberly from DTC. Registration is open. Everyone, please come if you're interested and if you're in the area.